So this is your feedback, enemy of my enemy, for the development section and the pre-production. So as we go on to our home, we've got our thing on there, that's good. You've got your summer trailer that you did as a team. Okay, so what we probably need to have here is maybe the evaluation as well, next to it, that you wrote about the strengths and weaknesses, the positives and negatives. That's important that you get that on there. Okay, looking through team profiles, so we've got our team photo together, and then we've got our individual profiles, and we've got the favourite trailers, which is really nice. Yep, very good, excellent, so that's nice to know. Okay, so when we come under genre research, the stuff that we should be adding on here, oh, this is good, so you've got your evaluation here, but any of the stuff that you did over the holidays, like the cabin in the woods analysis and all that, they should be put on here as well under your separate names, because that was all research as well. Anything you did in that session that isn't duplicated here, like the mood boards, would go on here. So like I said, the cabin in the woods and your summer trailer, and also the trailer that you did when you were learning how to edit from the Conjuring structure, and the timeline that you drew for that as well, that big long line with all the timings written on it, that all needs to go on here under the name of the person who did it. So if we look at your genre research first of all, okay, so we've got a mood board, which is about semiotics. Okay, very good. Yep. So what you might want to think about now is putting that bit of commentary underneath that we talked about. So again, if we look at our model one, which is Terror House, we could think about how we could show that we can apply some of this on there. A little bit concerned that this is very similar to theirs. In fact, it's using some of the same images, so I'd be incredibly careful of using that, particularly that one. Yeah, so just be careful there. Subgenre research. So we're doing this as a Prezi. I'm just going to come back to that. Okay. Okay, this is good. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Okay, so we could probably talk about sort of post-feminism here. We don't really mention that this is unique to slasher films either. I would expect to see kind of maybe the clips of them doing their thing here, because we can embed trailers and clips from YouTube very easily. So again, to improve this a bit more, I would put that on there. I'd also expect to have something maybe underneath it saying whether you're going to include a final girl or not, or whether the concept's interesting enough to include. Okay, stock characters. Okay, good. This is nice. Yeah, this is well presented. And we've got some images and some videos and stuff in there as well. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Well done. Yeah, again, we could put the scene as a trailer there. We could actually put the scene here as a video. That would be useful. Okay, I'm not sure what this is trying to show. Because you've got stuff on there, but I can't click on all of it, so I don't know what this is actually showing. So this needs work, because it's not showing. It doesn't demonstrate that, so it's kind of a bit incomplete, or it's kind of hanging there. History of iconic horror films. This is all of our films that we've got since we started. Okay, let's just go back and look at their one. Okay, so this looks quite busy. Yep, good. Okay. Yep. Okay, we still haven't really looked at the reviews or anything. Some of them are still. That's good. So that's an actual fact. Too much violence led to the banning of the film in the UK. Be careful your spelling. Lead is not spelt like that. You will get marked down for that as part of your presentation. But generally, this is pretty good. Yep, good. And there's a nice introduction. Okay, so that's pretty good. What it's missing is, again, showing what development there is on there, as in like how any of this is helping you define your idea. So, but at the bottom, I should probably expect something like, we are deciding to work in this subgenre, or we're intrigued about these ideas of, yeah, that kind of stuff. This section definitely is working on the genre development. Also, there's nothing there about Christian Metz and those stages of genre that we talked about, whereas there is on this one. So that's something that kind of needs to be included a little bit. Yeah, also if you look at how much they wrote about why it's effective compared to what's on the Prezi, there's at least 3 times more text here. There's a lot more detail. So again, you know, we already know this is the A grade. All you've got to do is look at what you've done and compare it and think about, is it as detailed? And that should give you your answer of what you need to do to improve. Okay, so that's the first section. Again, stuff that's missing on there is your cabin and the woods analysis. They should be put on there by now. And what you've learned about structure by editing the trailer that I set you in the summer. Not the one over the summer, but the one that you were doing in class for 6 hours, I think you had for that. Editing together like The Conjuring. And also you'd have the timeline on there, so that's all missing from this section at the moment. It should be on there. Go to concepts. Okay, we've got that on there, good. Okay, that's good. So we've got these things here. Yep, you've got your positives and negatives, that's very good. Good, okay, that section's complete. Go to treatments. Okay, so this looks very suspiciously like it's the same as this one. Yeah, so all we've done is just reposted this, and it doesn't contain so things like, I can't see locations on there just as I'm scrolling through. Yeah, so there's a bit of extra things doing. If you notice what they've done, again, we're always checking one of these ones from last year. We look at their treatment. You'll see how it's a separate post to before. So it's talking about, there's a tagline on there, there's props character types in it, there's a target audience, which I think you've mentioned, but again, is it male or female? Here they've talked about the locations they're going to be shooting in. Here they've talked about similar films and influences on it. When we come into this one, I don't have that on there. I don't have similar films and influences. I don't have locations. So this would not be acceptable as a treatment, because it isn't a treatment, it's a concept. It's not thought through enough. So again, that at the moment isn't complete. There's no kind of commentary as to why this one's been chosen or what benefits it offers you. So that would bring your grade down now, unfortunately, because the treatment's not been done. So whoever student 3 is, they need to take responsibility for that and get that sorted ASAP, because it will affect your group grade. Okay, so let's move on to textual analysis. If we look at front covers. Okay, so we've used ThingLink. Yep. Okay, yep. We've used that one. And so this is good. So you've looked at 4 different types of horror magazines. So that's good. Yeah, okay. Pretty good. So what we might want to have here is just like a commentary at the bottom saying, remember a reflective thing that you need for the sort of C, B and A grade, saying which one you've decided to use as your template based upon the ones that you think are the most effective. What are the strengths and weaknesses? So for example, that one, you've got to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 additional images that you have to take of completely different horror monsters to make this look convincing. Same with that one. This one you only need 3 main images, this one you only need 1 main image. Yeah. So I'd have that reflection in there as well, otherwise again it does hold you at the sort of D grade area. If we look at horror movie posters, okay, yeah, okay, that should really be on there if we're going to make that consistent, or do it as an e-maze or something, or do some arrows pointing to it. Okay, good, yeah. So again, we should probably have some sort of reflection on here as to which one is the most important, what you've noticed about the conventions of them. So we need at least a paragraph, and I mean like a full paragraph that kind of discusses that stuff. As you can see, for example, where they've analysed their posters and their magazines. Okay, so next section, I can't help but notice that the crits are missing on here, so unless they've all been put under textual analysis of film trailers, So this should have the 4 film trailers plus the film crits that you did. So that's like 6 crits on there. Okay. Yeah, so this is the content analysis of the trailers. So one thing that's kind of missing here is a reflection of how these would impact on your thing, and I don't actually have the film crits, so unfortunately that's not complete, that section. That's going to bring again your grade down further. We're probably looking at hovering around the sort of higher D now, because a big substantial part of this isn't completed. Film crits should have your reviews of the films that you did in your booklets. I think you were doing 3 each, or 4 each in fact, and you were doing a review of the film with a star rating of how impressive it was. So in terms of the development section at the minute, there's quite a lot of work missing that should be done, which is going to hold the grade back. The crits are not there. There needs to be commentary on these 2 sections here. There needs to be commentary about which of these are going to influence your idea and how you're taking it forward. The treatment has not been completed or done. It's just been reposted from a concept, which is not the same task. You also need to upload your horror genre research stuff that's missing from the summer. So the Conjuring timeline that you did, the edit you did in class, the Cabin in the Woods analysis that you did for homework. So at the moment, predictions is probably looking, as I said, around the sort of high D grade. Maybe onto the C border, depending on how much work we get on there. Second section is pre-production, so I'm just going to look at where you're at the moment. It should be 75% complete. Okay, so we don't have any magazine questions on here or poster questions. We don't have any results, and we don't have any results analysis. So if we just have a look quick through, that says to me that we're behind schedule quite significantly. As you can see here, you've got your questionnaires, you've got all the results. This is all the section that's still yet to be done, is actually getting the results and all this stuff. We can't actually proceed with any of your filming or planning until you have your audience research in. So until this has been done by student 1 and completed, we're kind of sitting in the dark at the moment waiting for the audience to tell us that information. I also don't have the other surveys completed yet, which is a real concern because you've only got 2 days left to get them out there and get the research in. So whoever's responsible for this is not at the moment, well, I don't think that's 75% complete. Location mood board, prop mood board, colour scheme mood board, and then font. This is good. The only thing is, again, we're held at a D grade because we don't have any annotation. We don't say which of these do you like the most, why would we choose it, which one would be suitable, which one wouldn't, why are we choosing these kind of places, where are you going to find this, you know, what are you going to start looking for hospitals, things like this. Also, this is the first time I've ever seen any of this because it's not in your treatment. You know, where are we going to get the doll from, where are we going to start buying this props stuff from. Yeah, we need to start thinking about shopping around for this. Which is the colour scheme that you're going to use. So I'd say this section is not really 75% complete yet, particularly as the questionnaires haven't been finished, and there needs to be annotation here. So again, we're sort of held at the D grade there with that one. Moving on to our camera training. Okay, so we've got our first video on here. Again, really disappointed that I showed you how to use exposure, and the very first thing that I see is a bright corridor, which doesn't look anything like a horror. Again, if we look at even just another groups one, so I've just looked at VII pictures, so that's quite disappointing because it means that you didn't take in what I taught you or apply it. So I'd probably say that, you know, that doesn't really demonstrate understanding. So again, if you look at their one here, of what they've made, this is the same contemporary group as you. You'll notice that they've used the lighting and they've used the exposure and they've used the focus in the way that I showed you to. Whereas this one is just really, really bright. This stuff is on here. Okay, that's kind of better. Yeah. It's quite shaky. Okay. Yeah. What it's not necessarily saying is why it's appropriate for a horror. This is good, it creates mystery and suspense. But for the low angle shot, that's good, you can show binary opposition. I mean, I'm thinking about this low angle here. Where am I? Yeah, so it doesn't really create mystery and suspense, does it? Because we can see him, so I'm not sure what the mystery is. Or the suspense. It shows him as looking powerful, but that's not what you've written here. So I think, again, the analysis needs looking at a bit more carefully here, because otherwise we don't really know why we're using it. Okay, so at the moment we've just got one video. So again, this is definitely not 50% or 75% of the way through. I don't have any storyboarding done. So this is very much concerning me now that we're very much behind schedule. I don't see where the 2 weeks of 4 hours homework has gone on this one. So that's a concern. Looking at the drafting. Yep, okay, so we've got some comments. Okay, so what was missing here is the 4 drafts that we should have. I've got 2. We should have 3 or 4 depending on the amount of people in your group. Again, if we look at what they've done, not just the guides that you've got, but if we actually look at what we've got here for our drafting, you can see it's very clear structure, influences at the top with a commentary about it. You have got one influence which you've basically copied and just changed the name of The Last of Us. In fact, it is exactly the same. If you look at the detail that you've put in there compared to the detail that they've put in there, it's not really the same. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ones that they've looked at. Yeah, very different ones. And what you'll notice is there are 1, 2 different drafts that they're now developing into slightly separate ideas. With our drafts, we've got that one there, that one there. We still need to do the electronic versions of these yet, which haven't been done. So having just 2 influences is probably not enough. They had 6 in the other one, and then they narrowed it down. I'm also a little bit concerned that these are direct imitations. They're not. That's not an inspiration. That's actually directly copied it and just had the same thing done. So I don't really show me much development there. If I was marking that, then again I'd be giving that kind of like a D- because it's just a straight out imitation. So it's incredibly derivative. We don't have these done yet either. I mean, you're running out of time. We've only got 2 days left until this is due in. Looking at front covers. Okay, so that's the influence. That's our first cover draft. Second cover draft. That's very small at the top. It's a bit of a concern. Again, look how big screen is. You might want to rethink about that. I mean, again, we don't have any digital magazine covers with 2 days left. So again, I don't really consider, if all you were doing was just those 2 pictures and those other 2 pictures, it doesn't really say to me that that was 4 hours being done there, particularly when other people have got videos to make. So the drafting is quite underwhelming at the moment. And then mood boards, so I think we've looked at mood boards, yeah. So I'd say at the moment probably predicted for a D. Lots of work to be done. Work is not being, don't think 4 hours has been spent here, because that was 8 hours of homework minus the hour for the essay. So there's quite a substantial amount of work still yet to be done.